What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Opinions from Offside. I'm joined again by Kanye.
Can you feel it?
You're waiting for the pun, aren't you? Kanye, feel
yeah,
it?
I'm waiting
Kanye,
for it. I'm waiting for it.
Kanye recorded another podcast with me today. That might be how you say it in the black country, eh? You might say that in like Wolverhampton. Kanye. Can
you record another video for me, mate?
No, you told me I've got to do it a bit slower, haven't I?
Yes.
You've got to do it, bro. You've got to slow it down.
Yeah, you've got to slow it down, mate. Everything you're saying.
Bless our friends over in Birmingham and the rest of the Midlands. Right, so how's things today? You all right?
All right, mate. All good. All good. Got work in a few hours. I'm sure you got the same.
Yeah, I do indeed. I've worked tonight. So good of us to try and get this one in. So at the end of the last episode, and it doesn't really matter if people didn't watch it in particular order, you posed the question, what changes, if any, would I make to the current game or the current rule set that would maybe make it, well, I interpret it as, that would maybe make it more clear so that there's not so much red tape around it and make it more entertaining. And the first thing I thought of was I would change the line of offside. Like, you know, you can be offside from the halfway line onwards. I would change that to the edge of the 18-yard box. Even if you had a line on the pitch to make it easy, from the edge of the 18-yard box over to the throw-in line, to the sideline, and anything this side of the line is onside, but anything from the box to the goal could be offside. So, how do you feel about that? And how would that change? But the only thing I thought of initially, which I will say, is then maybe you're getting caught up in the whole, like they draw the lines. Maybe you're getting caught up in VAR with, like, was he on the line? Was his body on the line? Was his elbow over the line? Was his arm on the line? So then you would have to make it so if you made that change we spoke about in another episode about having clear daylight between the player and the defender, but if you're like slightly overlapped, you're on. But if there's daylight, you're off. You would have to be, if you're overlapping the line or a body part's on the line, you're on. But if there's grass between you and the line, you're off.
Remember that's what you were saying with that. Like that would be more entertaining. You probably see more goals, more forwards on the shoulder. But as a defender, my viewpoint is if I've done my line, it made you go earlier, I would say that you're offside, like, from there. And I don't think if you had the line, it would make that much of a difference because I suppose from the 18-yard line, it's more of a, if you got to look at crosses from there, aren't you? It's a difficult pass to put in between the 18-yard line, through the defenders, and before the keeper gets it, depending on where you were. I think it'd be a difficult pass. But I think what you might get is more space in the midfield because teams might not come out as much. So we might have another incidence where we get more games, like if you watch Man City, where teams will drop to low block, stop the space from getting behind. Yeah, it's a low block, So maybe, even though everything, it sounds like, that would make for a more free-flowing, more goals game because they're going to be less offside, especially the teams with pacey forwards. Then would teams just revert to a more negative response to counteract it? Do you know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Have you changed the internet because you look like you're filming it on a potato?
Maybe.
Has it changed? Have you turned your Wi-Fi off or something? You're a little bit grainy.
No,
it's all right. We can still hear you, but you're a little bit.
I've not moved. No, it might be.
You're right. So they might. So what you're saying is teams might adapt to that rule by sitting deeper and therefore even less opportunity of a goal. Then how about what if you added? So I'm just spitballing here, right? What if you're only allowed 2 defenders in that zone, unless the ball was in that zone, or one defender's allowed in? One defender's allowed in that zone, unless the ball was further up. So like the ball can keep you onside, or a player like being behind the player can keep you onside. Like if you're running down the wing, you're going to cross it to me. There might not be any defenders between me and the goal, but if I'm behind the ball, you're playing back to me. So what if you only had one defender in that zone, that new zone we're making, unless the ball was in that zone, then they got free reign to all drop back?
I think it'd be difficult to manage especially if for amateur football, obviously with the higher levels, you've got TV replays and you could have 4 or 5 officials. Example, when we play out here, we don't even have linesmen. Like we literally have one referee and he'll call it from there. So I think it's very difficult to manage. You're asking him to watch what's going on with the ball, the stuff off the ball, looking out for offside, looking out for the player in the box. Is he in the box too long? Is it so many seconds? I think maybe, because I'm guessing the idea of doing something like that is to get a bit more of an advantage to the striker. So maybe on the flip side of it, maybe it'd be worth making the 18-yard box a bit smaller. So it's less space for the goalkeeper to come out. And the shots can be more, maybe making it 16-yard. Maybe that will create more goals. Because then if defenders are dropping deep, usually as a defender, we usually go by, you look at your lines, and the 18-yard line that's where you'd hold your line for as high as you can. If they're dropping 2 yards further back, it's a chance for some long-distance strikes, more entertaining goals, because you're that little bit closer. Maybe that would be another option, or maybe thinner goalposts.
This was another one I was going to say. I remember reading a thing a few years ago about a proposition to make the goals bigger. I don't think you can start doing that, do you? You can't keep making the goal larger and larger to try to get more high-scoring games.
I don't think so. I would say no, purely because you're punishing teams for having an organised and solid defence. And defence is just as much as football as attack. So maybe smaller posts, I can understand that, but I don't know. I don't know about bigger goals.
Well, so I'm a big boxing fan, right? And we were chatting to a mate last night in your work. I was chatting to Ollie, wasn't I? And we were talking all things boxing. And I'm just going to liken this to boxing now. See, me as someone who's like a boxing fan and understands it tactically, I don't mind watching a fight that's defensive. I used to enjoy watching Mayweather. Whereas a lot of people used to get the there's no knockouts or whatever. People are bloodthirsty. But I quite enjoy watching the chess, watching the movement, watching how they're reading each other, where the foot position is, Are you the same with a game of football? Does it need to be high scoring for you? Or are you just as happy watching a 0-0 if it's a good game and they're like tinkering and changing it up, and then one team's going for it and the other manager spots something and then plugs that gap, and then they make a couple of subs and change the shape, and then they're attacking. It could still be a good game if it's a low scoring game. No scoring game, can it not? Are you the same?
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I think it's one of those where I think it's the subtle arts. You know what I mean? Like I've watching stuff like you're a big fan of boxing. I like watching mixed martial arts, and sometimes like watching UFC, for example. One of my friends doesn't understand the wrestling part of it until I explain it to him. And then he sort of clicks like watch what, or he's just clamped his leg, watch what he does with his arm now, and you see him flip. And I think it's the same with football. I think with football, though, it takes such more effort to be organised for 90 plus minutes and have the organisation go from 1 to 11 plus subs.
That's what I mean. You're not just relying on yourself like you are in combat sports. You're relying on your teammates and everybody. I mean, if you're in a back line like you, like one of you's got to organise, 3 of you could be perfect. One of you doesn't step up by a foot, and you've played someone on side and it's a goal, and you've let, you know what I mean? So there is a lot more to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
You froze. Are you there? That. You froze a bit there. Strange, we're having a funny internet episode. This one might just be something going on.
It's a strange one,
yeah, strange. Yeah. Right. So, are there any changes when you asked it? Hey. You've stuck there, can you? Strange.
I'm still here.
Right, I got you back again. I can hear you now, but you're a little bit grainy. So when you posed that question in the other episode about any changes to the rules you would make, did you have anything in mind yourself for that question?
I think one of the ones that I would change would be probably for penalties. I'm a big believer in if you as a penalty taker, if you miss it, either the keeper save it or hit the post, you should not be able to touch the ball again until someone else does. Like, it shouldn't be this. I don't think it's fair that you've had a free shot at the goalkeeper from 12 yards, the goalkeeper saved it, and then you a head start on everyone else and you can tap the ball in. No. It's the goalkeeper saving it should be the same as it hitting the post. You should not be able to touch it until another player touches it. That's the only one I change.
Or you take your spot kick, and then whether it goes in, goes wide, hits the post, keeper saves it, dead ball. As soon as it goes forward again, or what?
Yeah, could be. Yeah, that's another one. But I like the competition of the race into the box.
Mm.
Yeah, could be. Like I said, I like the race into the box.
But then would you have... I'd take a penalty.
You've seen some...
Take a penalty, the keeper saves it, we race in the box, it glances your shin pad, then I've got free range to tap it in, have I?
Yeah, that's fair.
How much difference does that really make, other than it grazes your sock?
If I'm going to get there, as a defender, I should get better contact. That's how I look at it.
Right. Yeah, interesting.
If there's something putting me off, there's a player pushing me or whatnot, bear in mind, I've got maybe 300 degrees where to hit the ball away. I go left, right. I just don't have to go the way I'm facing. So it could be any side, or I can go the way I'm facing and just smash it in the air. So there's other options to do. And I like the idea of the run into the box. I think that's a part of it. I think we miss drop balls. I think drop balls should be competitive. Like, why not?
Don't you think it's strange? I don't think I've ever seen it. Have you? Have you ever? I've never seen this happen. Have you ever seen someone take a penalty, then miss, or it rebound off the post or the keeper? The people rush in for the rebound, then a foul's committed and it's another penalty.
I've seen that actually. Yeah.
In a professional game. I don't think I've ever seen it. And it's surprising that doesn't happen more often with that many people on the box waiting for contact to rush in. And it's surprising. In that cluster
wasn't there one in the Euros? Was it Croatia?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was Croatia. Croatia had a penalty. They missed it. It came out to the on the left. The guys tapped it across for the guy to tap it in, but he's been fouled as he's gone to tap it in. The referee's blew. The players tapped it in, but then he was actually classed to be in the box already. I'm sure that was around Perisic that was already in the box, but he was fouled. I've definitely seen it before where someone has done that. I've never done it myself, but I've seen it in a game. It's very, very, very unusual because usually if it's come back out, the striker's got their head start because he's 12 yards away rather than
it depends
18.
The angle it comes out, doesn't it? The keeper might push it towards the corner of the 18-yard box.
Yeah, it could be. But it's one of those other rare ones. I tell you what, switching it because you've just mentioned that, it's just brought something up to me.
Go on.
Why can't professional footballers deliver a corner correctly 9 times out of 10? Why is it only half?
Mate, so this was a bugbear of my granddad's. He always used to say about that. He always used to say, why do professional footballers have a weak foot? You're paid to play football. Your job is to train all week. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's missed that because it was on his left. Well, it's no excuse, is it? Like, I mean, I'm sure a barman could pour out a pint or serve a pint with his left hand, or I could hold a microphone in my other hand. It wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, he always used to say that. And the biggest thing, and we'll come back to what you're saying about putting corners in, his biggest bugbear was from corners, how many times you see someone hit it too deep, goes over the box, goes over everyone, and it goes out again for a goal kick or out for a throw-in. And he always says, why is there nobody on the other? So say it's coming from the right. Why is there never anyone on the left wing to bang it straight back in again? But you never see that. You never see that. All you see is it's the first man, or it goes too long, and then the ball's dead. But that would be a good set piece, hitting it a little bit deeper to someone in running in on the wing and either having a shot or whipping it back across again. Be confusion, wouldn't it? Into that corridor of uncertainty. The
classic. We talk about that one there. My favourite position to cross in. Yeah. Well, I think I'd probably say the reason you don't see it is because I don't think like most teams at that level now have set piece coaches. I know when we were playing Sunday League, we had a designated session just to set pieces. Like it was very strange considering the level we were playing at. But you wouldn't expect that to happen unless you plan for it. Like so, unless you're planning to hit the back. I know we had one when I played for a Sunday League team. It's been overhit, come out to myself from about 35 yards on the right. I've gone to cross it back post and it's just gone straight in the top bin. Like I've got the video. I'll find it. It is absolutely shocking. You see it bobble first. It's so bad. But I just think if you're going to overhit it, you must have a plan. So if you're going to overhit a corner, you must be planning to whip it at pace towards the goalkeeper, fast enough where he can't get it, but hard enough so that you've got a chance to get it. So maybe if you overhit it, I can understand that. But surely you do this every week. Must do this every 2 or 3 times in training. I mean, like, it baffles me. But
me too.
Such a chance, especially when I used to go up for corners as a centre back, I would be absolutely fusing. Oh, one season, I was top goal scorer from centre back. 1 year it was. I think I got
a bit of a Craig Dawson style.
No, I think I got 15 goals and 7 were penalties. More like a Steve Bruce.
Steve Bruce.
Yeah, but when I used to take corners, like one of the lads I used to play with, Pearcer, absolute unit of man. He looked like you just dragged him off a farm. Like imagine like England meets Brock Lesnar. That's what he looked like. That sort of person, just a big tank. And I used to do the same thing every time. I would clip from the right hand side. I'd clip the ball, a little bit of undercut to make it hover around about the penalty spot, and he knew where it was coming. He'd get the run on the man and power the header towards goal. If it's the other side, he knew I was going to whip it, and the ball would come hard and fast in between in that corridor of uncertainty, the penalty spot and the 6-yard line.
Yeah, the 6-yard line. It's difficult for a keeper. And if you're a defender, it's hard to deal with that without facing towards your own goal, putting it in your own goal, isn't it? Really, really tough.
Yeah. Crazy.
We're having a night.
It just baffles me that set pieces. Connection's really bad today. Maybe it is that far. Yeah. I just think with set pieces, I just think it's such a wasted opportunity. Like you see them, you see teams that they have like 11 corners, no shots from corners. Like what is that about? Like, how are you not? You must work on this.
There's no excuse for hitting the first man from a corner, and I see that so often.
No.
Even good corner takers like Ward Prowse, like you lit the first man, like, and then and I'm surprised that there's not more goals scored from corners on the counter. You see it now and then, but I'm surprised you don't see it a lot more. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's because people are not necessarily brave enough to leave a couple of players up to break. Do you know what I mean? I would always want to leave like a fast player on the halfway line or wide on the wing, just lingering on the halfway line. And as soon as you win it, you've got an out ball, go, all break. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, one of the Sunday League team we played for, we had a couple of small players in. My brother being one of them. What's he going to do from corner? There's no point. So let's use him to our advantage. He was fast, so he would stay up front on the left hand side. We'd have one stay up front on the right hand side, and usually the centre forward would be there in the middle. As soon as that ball comes out, all the centre forward has to do is hold it, and then he can pick. He can go left or right, and he can pick anyway. Ideally, all you have to do is hit it where he's just emptied, and then you'll have 2 players running that way towards the goal. And we used to do a lot of damage to that because teams you don't want to leave a 3-on-3, so they'd end up leaving 4 at the back, and then suddenly there's space in the box to get it out. You don't have to rush to get it out, or you're outnumbering them. Yeah, little things like that is just it should just be your bread and butter. Be brave.
And leaving 2 or 3 players for the counter stops them packing your box with their big boys, with their defenders. You know what I mean? It's less of a threat. You're like using them as pawns in a game of chess to your advantage.
Yeah.
But see your deep cross that ended up in the top bins. Did you own up to it, or did you claim it as like a worldie?
You'll see the celebration. I walked off in disgust.
Oh, really? And so you've just brought up there Ronaldinho in the World Cup against David Seaman. Similar thing. Was that on purpose or no?
If you ask Ronaldinho, he says he planned it.
Well, and if he weren't Brazilian and he weren't Ronaldinho, would we even listen to that?
If that was David Smith from Colchester, would we believe him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If that was Stuart Nevercott.
Yeah, like I don't know. You know what? I think I'd need to watch it again to make a decision because at the time, no, I don't think it was meant. I think it was just an overhit, and the keeper took the step, and then realised he's in danger.
No
but
man's land. Yeah, he was stranded, wasn't
he? Yeah, I'd have thought if you were going to do that, it wouldn't have been so high. It would have had a bit more pace on it, like actually get there fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that. Like you give the eyes to where you're going to go and try and switch it. I'd expect him to have hit it harder.
Yeah, it's never a good circumstance when you've got seamen in no man's land, is it? Right. So listen, I've got a controversial one for you. I've got a controversial one for you. Right. Female commentators in the men's game.
Yeah.
How do we feel about it?
Yeah.
How do we feel about it?
What, in football?
Yeah.
I think it's a difficult one because if they know what they're talking about, absolutely fine, no problem. Don't care what you are, what you look like. If you know what you're talking about, absolutely fine. If you've got an opinion which is you can argue your side, it might not be right, it might not be wrong. That's fine. Doing it for the sake of it, I don't see the point.
I
don't see the point of it.
I totally agree. My objection is filling quotas that you have to have a certain amount of this, a certain amount of that. I think it should be the best person, not man, best person for the job, right? And the way the analogy I'll always go for is if I was in a terrible accident yesterday, right? God forbid, right? Would I want like? Well, this has to be a female surgeon because we've got 3 male surgeons, and now the one who has to do yours is a female. No, I would want. Supposing I was having brain surgery, I would want the most qualified, most experienced, best brain surgeon, whatever their gender was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the reason this is a controversial subject is because we won't name names, but there's a couple of. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. There's a couple of male pundits that I think are ridiculous. I don't like listening to Alan Smith as a commentator at all. And there's a few
That's
male
too much
pundits.
that.
Yeah. And there's a few male pundits that I don't think necessarily are up to the job, but there are also a lot of great male ex-footballers and football minds that are not getting the opportunity because they've got to stick a token female presenter in there, and some of the things they've said have been embarrassing, and we won't name names, but I mean, you and I have probably seen like, you know, at the end of the day, if he puts that in the net, that's a goal and things like that. Do you know what I mean? Having said that, Michael.
Speaking facts. Yeah, speaking facts, though.
True. Michael Owen has been famous for a few of them ricks, making a few ricks as well. Can you remember?
My favourite one for Michael Owen: if you don't score goals, you struggle to win. What's the award? Oh, that's the perfect penalty, but he did it a bit odd. What? I heard one pundit say, I think it was the Rapinoe penalty. Oh, it's absolutely perfect. It's just gone wide though. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I can never understand when someone has a free kick and it's not on target, and they tell you, "Oh, that's a good effort. What a great shot that is." Well,
I can understand free kicks, certain areas, right? I can understand for someone who takes free kicks. I can understand you can hit it and it just not bend enough, or you've got. Because most of the time hitting a free kick, you'll either go, depend on the wall, you'll either go around the wall and you have to bring it back or whip it away from the keeper, or you've got to get up and down. Yeah, sometimes, like the worst one I've seen, which was mad, I've had a free kick and I'm on the right-hand side, so you'd expect the wall to stop me from bending it to the right into the corner. No, he had his wall to the left, blocking the opposite side you'd expect, and he stood the other side. And it was just baffling, like just crazy. So I can understand certain things because sometimes you'll hit it well, but it's not bent enough. But from a penalty,
then it's not exceptional. Why? Like, I get what you're saying. You've hit a free kick well, but if there ain't enough bend and it didn't go on target, it's not a great shot, is it?
Oh yeah,
it's not great execution. Yeah,
it's not great execution, but I can understand like the technique of it. Like free kicks are very difficult. Even though it's if I had the choice, what would I be more confident with? having a free kick from 20, 23 yards out on target, or having a free kick out wide and put it into the danger area, I would probably say 9 out of 10 would go in the danger area, and we'd probably score more. But the free kicks for the goals, I think it's mindset, because you have to get it up and down. So you take a little bit of power off, and then you think, I've got to beat the keeper. So then you put a bit more on. And it's difficult. I mean, I would say free kicks are harder than the hardest thing to do in regards to scoring from position wise, apart from like bicycle kicks and things like that. But even from corners, but I get what you're saying. It can't be exceptional if it doesn't go in, or if it doesn't hit the target.
And it goes back to you're paid to train all week at being able to do that. I mean, if I'm singing a song and I miss a note, if I go for a note and miss it, if I go for a high note and I go, I'm telling you, and it's awful, that's not me singing great, is it?
Well, you wouldn't expect someone to go like, it's a great effort, that. Like,
no, you wouldn't. You just go,
of course, yeah.
Always missed that, wouldn't you? So it baffles me. While we're on free kicks, unless you've got anything else to add on that,
no, go for it.
Let's talk about memorable free kicks and great free kick takers and anything that springs to mind. What you got?
First one that pops into my head, Roberto Carlos Latournois.
Exactly what I was going to say. With a big run up from like downtown and just like dipping and swerving.
It just went that way, then back, then it. Oh,
yeah,
brilliant,
unbelievable. He was unbelievable.
What's the one that pops into your head straight away? I would guess the Payet top bin.
Yes, against Man United, or the Crystal Palace one, where it
looks like
it's going wide, and it just comes like all the way back in the top corner. Unbelievable.
Absolutely ridiculous, that. Like, even from behind, I look at it and think, oh, that's close, that. And then you see the net move, like, what?
Yeah. Another one that pops into my head is Beckham's last-minute equaliser against Greece.
Yeah. Well, because he'd had like 4 or 5 of them already, hadn't
he? Yeah. He was like a man possessed that game as well. He was like everywhere, chasing everything down. He was like a one-man team trying to get us there. And if we'd have lost, we would have, I believe we'd have failed to qualify for the World Cup, I think.
Yeah, we would have,
Yeah, and then he just pops up with that. Like, I mean, he was an exceptional free kick taker, wasn't he?
Brilliant. So good. Just the technique, just brilliant. That's someone who put the time and effort, and he knew exactly what he was going to do and how he was going to do it.
Which speaks to the last point. He was always out on a training ground with a bag of balls, hitting them until they were perfect. I mean, how many stinkers did you see him have? All right, in that game, maybe, how many times did you see him smash it into the wall or stick it 15 yards wide or high wide and handsome? Like, it was always pretty close with him, wasn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. Like, I mean, what do you think to the man underneath the wall so the ball can jump?
The old draft excluder.
Yeah.
It's a funny one. It's only come in recent years, isn't it? I think I'd be a bit offended if I was playing and someone said, right, Mike, go and lay down behind us and risk getting, like, when we all jump up, risk getting stamped on. Like, I mean, it's I don't think it's necessary. I think it's very rare someone's going to hit a free kick that well, be that lucky in a degree that you've timed it perfectly to go under their feet during that jump. And if it does, why is your keeper not getting it?
Well, I think I would look at it. I don't think it's to stop. Primarily, I don't think the reason is to stop the ball going underneath the wall. I think primarily the reason is for the wall to be confident to jump as high as it wants. I think that's what it's more for. That's just the protection. So imagine now you've got a wall. So if I've got a wall of, say, 6 foot plus players that jump, I've now got to get that ball up, over, say they've jumped 6 inches. So that's 6'6" now. I've got to get it up and over the 6'6", down to drop into the goal, and with enough power to beat the goalkeeper, because the wall can now jump. But you used to see a lot of free kicks. We were always taught if you're in the wall, you jump, but you never jump full pace, because if the ball comes underneath you, your toes will clip it or slow it down. But now with this, you can actually go full pace, and if they do go underneath, I think it then blocks. I don't think primarily the blocking is just an opportunity, a occurrence from an assurance of the wall being allowed to jump full pace to make it harder for the free kick to up and down.
But my point remains the same. statistically, how many free kicks go under the wall? How many people even attempt that? How successful would you be timing it exactly right just as they jump? And how many not only stay on the ground and are timed at that like gate? You know, like if you're playing like a Mario Brothers or whatever, and it's like that, and you're going to go for like how many exactly go under the feet at that time, and how many of them then beat the keeper? I don't imagine. I don't think
you see a lot.
Not that common.
But then on the flip side of it, a lot of free kick goals, the wall doesn't jump.
But then there's been times when I've seen free kick goals go through the wall.
Which is ridiculous.
Which is ridiculous. But it happens probably more often than going under the wall. So it's strange.
It's the fact that if you're in the wall, you know you're going to get hit by the ball. Why are you moving? Especially at that level of football. Like, come on, if you're getting paid 30 grand a week, you can smash the ball in my face all day. I'm bothered. That's crazy. I would take that all day for that sort of dough. It's mental.
Yeah, crazy.
Did you ever take any free kicks?
Yeah, I was the free kick taker. I was all right at a free kick. Scored an absolute banger once that my mate Dan Finn used to call the Johan Cruyff. I don't know why there was no like Cruyff turning it on. If it was outside of my foot, I just had to go. I was sort of like 23, 25 yards out, just to the right of the box, and the wall was set up. And I could see there was only one place I could put it, and I hit it with the outside of my right foot, and it curled and dipped in. I probably couldn't have done it again. Like if I'd have took it another 20 times, I wouldn't have hit it so sweet. But that was straight in. That was a good one.
Like a baby charisma.
Yeah. Did you say you used to take free kicks as well?
Yeah, I was a free kick taker for most of the teams I played with. I think I've got maybe about 7, 8 in games. What my problem was, I used to always hit it too hard. So once I started taking a bit off it and just trying to float it into the angle, I was doing a lot better. I think I got 3 one year when we won the league. Like the tail end of the season, last 6 games, got 3. I think it was 3 and 4 games, free kicks, like just in off the bar, all in the same area.
They look so good off the bar and all, don't they?
You hear the little ding. Oh,
they're lovely, and then the net ripples. Here's a question for you. As a centre-back that used to come up for the headers, what kind of cross do you prefer? Do you prefer a whipped cross or pace on it near the keeper? You just got to get some contact on it and it's in? Or do you prefer it floated so you could get up and challenge? Like Andy Carroll used to love a floated one because he knew that if he went up with them, he backed himself to win it and get some power on it. What did you prefer?
As a small centre-back, I would prefer whipped and hard. Make it difficult. If it's difficult for me to get to, it's difficult for them to get away with. I would always prefer that. But then I suppose it's one of them where we've spoke about this separately. You've got to know your players. Like if I'm crossing I'm not going to whip something really hard back post if I've got an Andy Carroll there against a Trent. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're not. I'm going to put it so you can get the step on him, get up early. As he jumps, you hover, little tap in. But then on the flip side of it, if I've got a small striker against 2 big centre backs, I'm going to aim it hard, bending towards them, usually between the shoulder and the hips, somewhere where your arms usually be. So you've got to adjust. Do you leave it? Do you let it go? But as a striker, you'll drop your head, you'll raise your legs. It's just easier for you to get towards the goal than it is the other way. I think that's what I would look at. But I wasn't the striker. You were the striker. What would you like?
Depends who you're going up against, I think. I think if you feel like you've got the beating of your man who's marking you, then a floated one's nice. I prefer like a whipped one's good, or like a hard one, because all you got to do is get a glance and direct it towards goal. And again, it depends on the keeper. Like I like to, if the keeper was pretty good at claiming the crosses, claiming the corners and coming out catching, then an outswinger made him question his decision whether he was coming or not, right? But if you felt that they were like a bit calamitous or a bit nervy, then an in-swinger is pretty good because then you can attack it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Goalkeepers that didn't come out, like the corners, I was telling you about the corners earlier, I used to love floating them underneath him because he didn't want it You know, he didn't want to get hurt, and then the first time he did it, you've got, say, Pierce, you've got someone like yourself. He can't move. He's literally got to jump and catch it, and he knows he's going to get clattered into the goal. Like, do it once, and that's it. He's not coming back out.
Yeah, unbelievable. So, any other free kick takers that make your list?
Free kick takers or free kicks?
Either or. Go on. What you got? What are you thinking?
Brazilian Juninho.
Middlesbrough, when he was at Middlesbrough?
No, the one that played for Lyon.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I don't know if it's still true now, but statistically, he was the most successful free kick taker.
Was he really?
So good. So I tell you who else was good at free kicks. It wasn't really judged of it. Pierre van Hooijdonk.
Was he really?
Apparently, yeah, he was really good at free kicks, like scoring goals. I mean, Koeman scored a fair few. Like Koeman used to do a really different one. Like used to dink it. Yeah.
That guy scored a goal that again, when we didn't qualify, would have been 90 before the 94 World Cup. Was it in America? Was that the one against Holland? Was that the Graham Taylor one? No, would have been before that. No, it was after.
No, I think so. Yeah, I think it was.
Do I not like orange? It was, wasn't it? We lost to Holland.
Yeah, he dinked it over the top.
Dinked it over the top, and we went out.
Yeah.
Or was that? Or am I thinking what was the one we lost against Sweden and Thomas Brolin scored?
That was that Euro 96? No, was Euro 96? No, World Cup 98 maybe?
Yeah, maybe. It's hard. They all fade into one, don't they?
It's all that Italian football we watch.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about that then, because that segues nicely. What about growing up? What major tournaments really stick with you? The first one I remember watching every game of, and I can remember like it was yesterday, was Italian 90.
Euro 96 for me, first one.
Yeah.
I think the other ones, not top of my, like, I don't think I was really old to understand properly then, but Euro 96. Maybe because it was in England. Maybe that's what made it stand in my head a bit more.
And what games stood out? What games stood out for you in that one? Surely Gazza's goal in the Scotland game. I would imagine most people would say the Netherlands game, the game against Holland, the 4-1.
The two that stick out in my head, like I don't really remember the Holland game as much, but the Scotland game absolutely. But the Germany game as well.
Yeah.
The semi-final. Like it was just.
Yeah. Was that the one where we in extra time? I think it would have been Anderson put the ball across. Gazza tried to slide in, and he literally
literally just missed it.
Longer studs would have won it.
Yeah, that one. But and just looking at the penalties as well. Like it was just like that's the first time I've ever experienced watching penalties, and you just like even now I know you can't. No one misses on purpose, but you look at Southgate's penalty, and you're just like that's trash. It's trash. Like
is that the one Southgate missed? Didn't Batty miss as well?
Yeah, I think it was Batty. Because then did Batty miss against Argentina as well? Is it Batty and Ince? Was it Batty and Ince? I think it was Batty and Ince that missed Argentina.
Yeah, you may be right. Yeah.
No redemption
Euro 96 sticks in my mind. Italian 90 sticks in my mind. Again, the Germany game in the semis. I always remember. So you must have seen like video of it or whatever. When we played Cameroon and Lineker scored 2 penalties. Did you ever see that?
I think I've seen the clips of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Remember Roger Miller? Yeah.
Yeah, with all that corner flag. And what was the other one? Makanaki, wasn't it? He used to have the golden dreadlocks.
No, I don't remember that. I remember some players sticking in my head purely from me and my brothers playing sensible World of Soccer. Like the players used to stick in the head. We used to go by like Carlos Valderrama, the big hair
with the big afro thing.
Yeah, the big red afro. But the Italian 90 was that the one where Italy lost on penalties to Brazil.
Baggio put it over the bar.
Baggio put it over the top. Yeah. I remember that. I remember watching that.
I know that Baggio was one of your signings on Sensible World of Soccer, where you could go the halfway line, hit a shot, and curl it away into the top corner.
Yeah, top mid. Tell you who the best one for that was. Ex-Tottenham, Jose Dominguez.
Yeah, little fella, I remember him.
Yeah, like he used to be brilliant at that. Like, and then you'd have a player diving in, like used to buy Romario for 15 million. Like
Romario. Let me make a quick note because I thought of something for another podcast. So another thing, while it's a bit unprofessional, but so I don't forget, just writing something down for a subject for another day because you just sparked something there. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Hey, right, have you got a controversial opinion? Have you got an unpopular opinion for us today?
An unpopular opinion for today. Let's go with football shirts now are far too expensive.
I don't think that's controversial at all.
Wait. Let me finish. I think they're far too expensive, especially considering the ones you buy are not the ones they wear in matches.
No.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
for that sort of money. But people don't know. People don't know the ones you buy in the shops for, I don't know, £120 and not the match worn ones, the ones that they wear in the match. They're completely different. And it's crazy.
Well, Arsenal sell one that is the similar material, the breathable material that absorbs the sweat and that. The actual one, I think, is Nike. That's about £200 just for a football shirt.
Crazy.
Here's a question, because you go on. What was you going to say? Go on.
I think you might be saying the same sort of thing. Why is it then that football clubs can charge their fans all this money, charge their fans for memberships and season tickets and stuff like that, and then they have to make their own way to the stadiums, supply their own food and all that? Why is it in Germany, not only is everything cheaper, but your travel is included in your season ticket? Why don't we do something like that?
Because the reason for that is because it's a different structure in Germany. Germany, the clubs are owned by the fans. It's 51% fan owned and 49% club and chairman owned. And that's why they do it like that. And they've got the model better. The model is much better. It's actually a bone of contention at my club at the moment, because what they've done there is they've removed the concession prices for OAPs. And they've removed the concession prices for children. So now if I still lived in England and I wanted to take my little boy to football, if I wanted to get a season ticket, his season ticket would cost as much as mine as an adult. Despite him being 9 years old, they would want over £1,000 for like a certain band. You can obviously have different bands, but where I would sit over there, mine would be about £1,000 and they would want the same for him. And actually a good friend of mine, 11 of them have been going to West Ham, made the transition over to the London Stadium, used to go to the bowling ground. They've had season tickets for 30 odd years. They've all had to give it up because Paul's dad, Andre, who's now 70, been a window cleaner all his life. He's got bad knees. They've now taken away his OAP concession. So they want to charge him full price or send him up to the back row, the very top in the nosebleeds, and expect a 70-year-old bloke with bad knees from grafting all his life as a window cleaner. They want him to either pay top whack or go, okay, if you don't like that, go and sit up there with the worst view in the Premier League and climb up there with your bad knees at 70. It's such a liberty. So there's a petition going around at the moment that people are signing to try and get them to go back on that. But it's that's a real thing. So coming back to what you're saying there, I just think they've got it structurally right in Germany where the fans have more of a say. A certain amount of fans on like a fans advisory board have to approve anything that the club suggests before it can be ratified and go through. So, yeah.
Just something like that Super League they were planning, that would have to go through the fans. So if a team wanted to sign up for that first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If fans are up for it and they were all for it, then it would be all right. But you'd need a certain amount of fans on a vote to say that they're happy with it. So
it just seems a bit mad, doesn't it? Just think, you just got to look at it. You just think if they can offer free transport on that sort of scale to football fans, why is it so different here? Especially when you think the Premier League is the richest league in the world. Well, that doesn't make any sense.
It's a liberty, mate. It's an absolute liberty. Supposing I was to say to you before we finish off, Steve Claridge.
Come on, mate. Andy Impey.
Andy Impey, right? So what are we going for here? What are we going for? A QPR or Leicester or what? What are you thinking?
I'll leave it to you. Andy Impey played for both.
Yeah, right. So I'll go Julian.
It's weird you say that, actually. I was thinking if it comes to it and I start, I was going to drop a QPR player to you.
Well, do you want to stay on this or do you want to drop
No, stick with it. We'll save that for another time.
Okay, all right. Julian Joachim.
Rule Fox.
So he was Norwich as well. I said that to you on one of the other episodes, didn't I? He was a great player, a good little player. Simon Grayson.
Matt Elliott.
Oh, was he the ball sort of defender? Was he?
Yeah, that played up front as well. Ended up playing for Scotland. Yeah.
Do you know what? Who was the player that played for Blackburn that started off as a defender, ended up front? Like, actually, was it Paul Warhurst? Was it? I think
Paul Warhurst was a midfielder, I think. Paul Warhurst.
I'm pretty sure he played everywhere. Though. He played at centre back. Then they set him up front a few times. Then he started up front. Like Ian Pearce as well did that. Ian Pearce did that. And Rudolph could play anywhere. So
Rudolph could play anywhere. There's the goalkeeper as well. What's his name? Campos was a striker and a goalkeeper.
Really?
Yeah. Campos has got. I'm sure he played up front for Mexico and he played in goal. Like, wow, crazy! If you've never seen it, YouTube. There's a couple of clips on. I think it's Jorge or it's George Campos. Watch that, and we'll have a conversation about that.
We'll have a talk about that next time.
Yeah.
Wow. Neil Lewis.
I will go with. No, we're not going to go with that one. Let's go with Franz Carr.
Neil Lennon.
Darren Eder.
David Lowe.
Matty Jones. He was Robbie Savage's replacement. We bought him from Leeds for $4.5 million, and he was injured all the time.
Really?
Welsh, I think. Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, that's another subject for another day. We're going to talk on another episode about players that could have had it all but were blighted by injury. So we'll save that. For now. But I'll tell you what, we've done another good little session here. 46 minutes. You had a bit of rough internet at the beginning, but it's even itself up now, and we can see your big beautiful face now. We can see it clearly and hear your audio. So apologies, anyone that saw the dodgy internet at the beginning. That's the trouble we're in the Canaries. They're still trying to work out the internet. They're still trying to work out roundabouts. So we just got to be patient.
They're never going to fix that. They're never going to be able to do it.
No, it's crazy. Right, remember, listen, a little bit of housekeeping. We're going to build this from the ground up. We started off with no subscribers, then 2 subscribers, then 9 subscribers. Thank you for everybody who's watching, who watches the shorts and shares it about. Do hit the subscribe button. Do ring the notification bell. Do, most importantly, interact with us in the comments. Let us know what you think of our views and opinions. Be kind, because, nobody wakes up hating on people. So be nice. And also give us your suggestions for talking points in the future. Over the next few episodes, we're going to get some friends of ours on to talk football from all different walks of life as well. Different positional players, different cultural backgrounds and whatever. We're also going to chat about the differences between playing football in an English culture and the Spanish way of playing as well on another episode. So lots to look forward to. But for now, we'll leave you and say thank you for joining us on
Opinions from Offside.
Thank you so much, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.